my son's pediatrician Googling symptoms during our appointment. Then I found out he's not actually a licensed doctor. My son Ethan is 6 years old. We've been seeing Dr. Michael Hayes for the past 3 years, ever since we moved to this area. The practice is small, just Dr. Hayes and one nurse, but it always seemed fine. He was friendly, good with kids, never seemed rushed during appointments. Last month, Ethan developed this weird rash on his arms and legs. It wasn't getting better after a week, so I made an appointment. We went in on a Tuesday afternoon. Dr. Hayes examined Ethan, looked at the rash, seemed a bit uncertain. He sat down at his computer, and I watched him literally Google red spotty rash child arms legs. I thought it was weird, but tried to rationalize it. Maybe doctors Google stuff to confirm diagnoses. Maybe he was looking up the latest treatment recommendations. He prescribed a steroid cream and said to come back in 2 weeks if it didn't improve. The cream didn't work. The rash got worse. I took Ethan back in. Dr. Hayes seemed flustered, examined him again, then excused himself saying he needed to check something. I heard him in the hallway talking to his nurse. He was asking her what she thought it could be. She suggested maybe eczema. He came back in and told me it was probably eczema, prescribed a different cream. Something felt off. I'd been to doctors before who consulted with colleagues, but this felt different. More like he genuinely didn't know what he was looking at. That night, I decided to look up Dr. Hayes online. Found his practice website, found his name listed on a few healthcare directories. But when I searched for his medical license on the state medical board website, nothing came up. I tried different variations of his name. Michael Hayes, M. Hayes, Mike Hayes, nothing. I thought maybe the website was outdated or had errors. I called the medical board the next morning, gave them his full name and the address of his practice. The woman on the phone searched their database. She told me there was no licensed physician by that name in the state. She asked if I was sure I had the right name. I said yes. I'd been taking my son to him for 3 years. She suggested maybe he was licensed in another state. I called back his office and asked the receptionist where Dr. Hayes went to medical school. She said she'd have to check and get back to me. She never called back. I started digging deeper, found his LinkedIn profile. It said he had a biology degree from a state university. Nothing about medical school, no residency information. I searched for any news articles, any professional publications, nothing. I filed a complaint with the state medical board. An investigator called me 2 days later, said they were looking into it and I should find a new pediatrician immediately. Told me not to contact Dr. Hayes directly. A week later, the investigator called back. Dr. Michael Hayes was not a licensed physician. He'd never attended medical school. He had worked as a medical assistant at a pediatric practice about 10 years ago, then apparently just started his own practice and called himself a doctor. He'd been practicing medicine illegally for 8 years. The practice got shut down last week. I saw it on the local news. Dr. Hayes was arrested for practicing medicine without a license, fraud, and a bunch of other charges. The news report said dozens of families had been affected, that he'd been prescribing medications, giving vaccinations, doing physical exams, all without any actual medical training beyond being a medical assistant. I took Ethan to a real pediatrician yesterday, a licensed one that I verified 3 different ways. Showed her photos of the rash. She diagnosed it immediately as pityriasis rosea, a viral rash that goes away on its own. Said the steroid cream could have actually made it worse. She seemed horrified when I told her about Dr. Hayes. I've been going through Ethan's medical records from that practice. All his vaccinations, his checkups, everything for the past 3 years was done by someone with no medical degree. I don't know if the vaccines were even real or stored properly. I don't know if anything he did was legitimate. My husband and I are getting Ethan fully evaluated by actual doctors now, making sure he's up to date on vaccinations, checking for anything that might have been missed or misdiagnosed. So far, he seems healthy, but we won't know for sure until we're done with all the appointments. Other parents from the practice have started a group chat. We're all sharing stories. One mom said Hayes missed her daughter's heart murmur that a real cardiologist later caught. Another said he prescribed her son antibiotics for everything, even obvious viral infections. Someone else said he botched a simple ear exam and their kid ended up with a worse infection. There's talk of a class action lawsuit. The state medical board investigator said we should all file police reports. The news wants to interview families. It's a complete mess. I keep thinking about all the times I sat in his office and trusted him completely. Every time he prescribed something, every time he said Ethan was healthy, every time I believed he knew what he was doing. 3 years of fake medical care for my kid. The worst part is he was good at faking it, confident, professional, had the right equipment, the right terminology. If I hadn't seen him Googling that day, if the rash hadn't stumped him so obviously, I might never have looked into it. We might have kept going to him for years. Ethan keeps asking why we can't see Dr. Hayes anymore. He liked him, doesn't understand why we're going to a new doctor. I don't know how to explain to a 6-year-old that the person we trusted with his health was a complete fraud.